After 10 years, 6 directors, multiple writers, and various delays, The Flash finally speeds into theaters this weekend. We're both excited to talk about it, so let's run right into it. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I'd like to welcome you back to the Ace Avenue. I am yours truly, the Ace, and I am here with a special guest today, my boy from the Geek Spot News, Frank G. Say what's up, Frank.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Thank you for having me here.
Not a problem at all. And today we are talking about The Flash that just dropped in theaters this weekend. We both got the chance to see it. We'll be talking about different topics on it, and we'll have a little spoiler section. There'll be timestamps at the bottom. So if you want to fast forward, if you want to go ahead, feel free to do so. But we're going to get right into this. And before we do, let me know down in the comment section what you guys thought about this movie. Did you like it? Love it? Did you hate it? And where does this rank amongst all your DCEU movies? Let me know down in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe. So we're going to go ahead and get right into the movie and our thoughts. And I'm going to start with my boy, Frank. So, Frank, what did you think about this movie?
I didn't hate it. I didn't absolutely hate it. I enjoyed the movie. It was really too long. Is really too long. I enjoyed the movie. I think, and I know we'll talk about this later down in the spoiler part. It had probably the greatest set of cameos in a superhero movie to this day, in my opinion.
Out of all the multiverse ones?
Out of every multiverse one, especially out of the Doctor Strange one, this had the better and the best cameos. And I can't wait to talk about that part more than I can't wait to talk about the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Now, for those that don't know, this movie is based on the graphic novel of Flashpoint, the Flashpoint comics, basically where Barry runs back in time to save his mom. And by doing so, he changes the course of events. And he has to realize that he has to let his mom die in order to actually save things from going completely wrong throughout the entire universe. And in this movie, my overall thoughts, they touched base on that a lot. You know what I'm saying? They had a lot of Flashpoint. It was actually more than what I thought they were going to do. I thought that was just going to be the basis around it, but they actually incorporated a lot of things from Flashpoint. We'll get more into that in the good and the bad section. But overall, I had high expectations for this movie. When I did my trailer reaction, I was super excited. I couldn't wait. Flash is my all-time favorite DC superhero, but the expectations were super high going into the early screening. Even the Warner Brothers executives were there and they were like, this is going to be the blockbuster of the year. And that's all we're hearing, especially after 10 years. And this movie's been done for over a year. So we're over here waiting to see, like, okay, what's going on. And then obviously, we'll talk about the stuff with Ezra Miller, as you guys have talked about in the Geek Spot multiple times. And it's just, I went in with high expectations, but in typical DC fashion, it started going down and down and down. And it was just overall, I was kind of disappointed going in. Granted, it's going to be for some people. Now, I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's kind of just okay. And I was just let down at the end of the day.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad that I have that AMC movie pass
Same.
and I got this for free, because I would have been really upset paying for it. Not to mention the fact that as I was at the popcorn stand, I saw the Optimus Prime truck and my eyes lit up, the popcorn holder. But when he said $52, I patted it and said, thank you for being there. And
I'm normally a collector of them. Like, this is the Mario one I got, where it's
I like
the Mario, the Wakanda Forever one. I got this one right here. This one was worth it because it actually lights up. You know what I'm saying? You can't see it on screen, but it lights up. Then I got the actual helmets of Gwen and Miles. Those are worth it. $50. And then I wasn't going to get the Fast and Furious one either. That was shit. I wasn't going to pay for just the car.
I can't see sitting in a movie theater chair with a damn truck across.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad. Yeah, like I said, same point as you. You know what I'm saying? AMC A-list, which I would love for them to be the first sponsor of this channel. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't pay for it. But since we just talked about the thoughts, let's get into the good. What did you like about this movie?
Michael Keaton, first and foremost.
Absolutely.
I ranked the cameos up there, but again, we're gonna save the cameos, I think, for the spoiler part, right? So I can't really. That was like the top. Michael Keaton was absolutely fantastic in everything that he did on screen.
Absolutely.
Sasha Cali was great as Supergirl.
I
She was
agree.
really, really good. I hope they do something with her going forward. I'm not the biggest Ezra Miller fan, but he definitely did bring a little bit of the emotion to the role in a way I didn't think he would.
Mhm.
And he wasn't awful. They weren't awful. I'm sorry. I just that's not my Barry Allen. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. When I look at Ezra Miller, I don't look Barry Allen. Now, that could be, I know Jack can touch more on this than you can, but that could also be because I see Grant Gustin as my live action Flash, which we'll talk about that in the spoiler section as well. But overall, I agree. Not Grant, Ezra Miller in spots was really good. He kind of got a taste of his own medicine because he is the annoying, obnoxious character of the Justice League. And for him to have an older version of himself with a young interacting with a younger version of himself, you definitely got to see him feel how the other Justice League people felt, where he's like, yo, this guy's like a fanboy. Like, this guy is super annoying. He's not listening to shit. Like, and I actually thought he did a good job portraying two different characters, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But the same version, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But to touch base on what you were saying, Keaton stole the movie to me. Just the little things like the throwback and how it felt, you know what I'm saying? This was fan service, you know what I'm saying? This was good fan service, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't over the top. When the Batman themes came on, when he was kicking ass, that really was that made the movie to me. Now, like you said, Sasha, let me tell you, outside of I find her attractive. Outside of that, I like I said, in the limited role that she was in, she was actually one of the brief bright spots of this movie because she was barely in it. But when she was, I felt like it was just perfect and the right amount. It wasn't overly done. She didn't like she stole the scenes that she was in with the emotions. And I would like to see what they're gonna do going forward with her. I'd watch a movie with her.
I
If it
absolutely.
would. I would. I would. I thought she did a great job. Um, like I said, I would love to see that. Keaton, like I said, stole the show. The one thing I'm gonna add, I like the good part about this. When it comes to my movies, I want to see emotions in the movie, like Guardians, and you haven't seen Across the Spider Verse. But one of the bright spots of this movie was actually the family dynamic in the heart of this movie, which I feel like we could have used more. Like the scenes with Barry and his mom were really good when they were there, but they weren't a lot of
Right.
it in there. So I felt like it could have been more. She was phenomenal, and the emotion that Ezra got to display, you can definitely tell his acting range. When he got to do those heartfelt moments, especially when they slowed things down in slow motion and stuff like that, you really got to feel it. Another thing I loved about this movie, and we'll talk about this more in the mix section, you know what I'm saying? But overall, there were good spots to this movie. Is it rewatchable? Me watching it the second time, it's not very rewatchable, but I
Yeah.
did have fun watching it the first time. I went with my best friend and we had a great time watching it. But overall, like I said, it was okay. It was just okay.
I I don't think I could rewatch this like the Batman movie. I love the Batman movie, the Robert Pattinson one. It's one of the best Batman movies in the world, but
I just bought a shirt, the Batman shirt, just for this stream, but because it's too much black, it's fading me out, so I can't wear it. That's why I'm wearing a white shirt.
I can't rewatch the Batman. It was just too long. Now,
Mhm.
if I'm doing stuff around the house and one of these movies were to come on, sure, I could put it on and listen to it and I'll pop in every couple of seconds. But now, just like you said, I don't think I could rewatch this. And you saw it twice, so man.
Oh, I almost fell asleep. Not gonna lie. And the guy next to me actually did fall asleep. I'm not gonna lie. I was talking about boys while I was taking notes and he fell asleep. But one more thing I actually did like about this movie. I like how it tied in Man of Steel. That was actually really good how they did it without forcing it. It didn't feel forced. Like he was there and we got to see it
Mhm.
from a different vantage point. Like I love it. Like especially like when Marvel did their thing with Hawkeye, the TV series, and we got to see just different things from different point of view. I love when movies do that.
So,
So we got to see the Man of Steel from different, actually from 2 points of view. We got to see him from Batman and Justice League, and we got to see it from this movie. So
right.
I like the way they incorporated that, and I felt like this movie had potential, but like I said, too many different writers. It was just too many different writers, too many different delays, and on top of that, because it's coming out 2 weeks after Across the Spider Verse, that's kind of stealing some of the multiverse lackluster right there, like momentum. So yeah, but is there anything else that you liked about this movie, or
Um, no, I mean, you know, I'm a big fan of the CW series, right? And they did Flashpoint. They did a faster version, but they stretched it out over a couple different episodes. So they had a lot more time to dig in. They had seasons worth of digging into him and his mom and stuff like that. So in a 24-hour movie, that's what the movie felt like. In a 2-hour movie, it was a little harder to dig into all that mom stuff because they didn't have a movie before this to build up to this. And it's like said with Batman versus Superman, that was too fast after the Man of Steel. It was that confrontation didn't need to happen right there.
yeah. I agree. And actually, one of your points is what I have in the mix section. So we're gonna go ahead and go right up to the mix section. And I'll start that off. What you were talking about as far as the setup, this movie seemed like it was the third movie of a Flash solo series because we got no Reverse Flash, which Reverse Flash is very paramount to not just Barry's story, but this particular story they're trying to talk about. Now, same thing with Marvel. They did a good job of telling the story that they had to tell to make sense for this universe in particular. But I feel like a solo Flash movie because DC kind of did it backwards with the we're gonna add him in Justice League and just go from there. Solo Flash would have been good, and then we could have got maybe another Flash adventure movie, and then this movie
Yeah.
because then we could have seen what drove his character to want to go back and save his mom. Now, granted, anybody given a chance would want to go back and save their mother. That's why the relationship with him and Batman are like this because they both understand the childhood trauma of losing their mother, losing their parents, I should say. But this movie just felt like it was second or maybe even third. And I feel like because what transpired in DC, they were just looking for any reason to try to do this so
Mhm.
that way they can go ahead and restart. They're trying to have this movie fix all their fuck ups. And it can't. You know what I'm saying? This isn't that movie at the end of the day.
No.
But the mix section, another thing about the mix section that I have, right? The CGI, right? That actually is going in the bad and mixed section because to me, at some spots, it was good. You can tell where they put the majority of the money on. Like when Barry's running, you can feel the effects of him running. I love the effects of when he's running, the lightning is coming out of him. Like New 52, what they do is, you know what I'm saying? And they even touch base on it, like him actually discharging is what they talked about in the plot. So, they back that up. But in other spots, you can tell the CGI was just horrible. Like Injustice 2, I'm playing a cut screen and it just looked terrible, Frank. Like I'm like, what is this?
So
Like it was terrible.
I I agree with that at first. Okay. The CGI I was really down on until I saw something from the director today that kind of made it take a little bit of sense. Like, so the part where he is running in that big fishbowl looking
This
thing.
the stadium,
Yeah.
like the sphere. Yeah, that was so
That
weird.
that's supposed to now that this is what the director said. Now I don't know if he's saying this because all the criticism or this is just this is the way he wanted it. Is you're looking at that through Barry's point of view, so you're seeing that through the Speed Force. So that CGI is supposed to be wonky like that because we're supposed to be seeing that as him.
Hmm.
That's an okay explanation for it,
Seems like
but
they're retcon. Seems like they're retconning it to kind of like
yeah,
pass. Yeah,
no, the CG was a little wonky, and well, that I'll save that for the bad part. So I got something else.
yeah. So what else you have for your what else were you kind of mixed about?
It the length is a mix. The setup was great, but and the second act wasn't bad, and then the third act it felt like they just sandwiched it all in. Like
Hmm.
it would have been better, and I feel like they really misused Zod again. It's the second time that they've really misused that character.
And you heard that he doesn't like his portrayal in this movie. He did. I don't even. And you can tell. they just CGI'd his face on a body,
Sure.
like because they had the mask on him the entire time, so you can tell they use that as a way to just,
Oh yeah.
let's just throw him in there, you know.
Yep. Yep.
So, and that's another thing. I just feel like this because the original Flashpoint, right? You had a war between Themyscira and the Atlanteans. You know what I'm saying? Where was that? Like, I would have liked to see that. Like, that would have been dope to
So
see.
they made it the way again, I don't the way he explained it, the director, was that it was an adaptation of
Hmm.
Flashpoint. I
Yes.
the animated version of Flashpoint, where Michael Rosenbaum is one of the voices, I think he's Reverse Flash in that.
Hmm.
Animated Flashpoint, absolutely outstanding. They knock it out of the park. It's all their animated stuff is awesome.
Oh, they always kick ass in the animated
Yeah.
department easily. Yeah, but like I could agree, the 2 hours was kind of long. You said it had good pacing and stuff like that, but good setup. But I don't know. Try watching it the second time. It kind of drags the second time. Like
That
I was in there on my phone, kind of like, okay, let's move this along. And I was kind of waiting for the Batman section because once Michael Keaton comes in, that's when the movie really hits full steam and it picks up immediately. But by then, it's already, 2/3 of the movie's already almost over. You know what I'm saying? It was a really long setup. But I mean, they like I said, there were a lot of aspects that they took from the Flashpoint concept and put into this movie with him losing his powers, him getting his powers back, stuff like that. But yeah, that's all the stuff that I'm pretty much mixed about. So we're gonna jump into the bad section. So you had some stuff to say. So what did you not like about this movie?
all right. I feel like, and this is not just this movie, but so many movies anymore are guilty of this. All of the good Michael Keaton stuff, most of the good Michael Keaton stuff is in the trailers.
You're my man. Yo, I was gonna say
Mo
that. You took a note. That was my note.
Most of it is in the trailers.
And the
There are
Supergirl
some
stuff.
parts that are really good. I really feel like the "Let's get nuts" thing was shoehorned, forced in there.
Hmm.
Just it didn't fit.
And
Uh,
Batman. Like, dude, we already know you're Batman. Like they from the plot standpoint, they know you're Batman.
right,
But
right.
then they tried to put humor around it to kind of like make up for it.
I
And
thought
yeah,
I thought the lasso of truth thing, again, poorly placed, poorly timed, just like the way Joss Whedon did it
overused.
it's it it's a played out trope. Didn't need to hear that. Um,
Mhm.
one thing I forgot to mention in the good part though, Ben Affleck absolutely knocked it out of the fucking park as well. He
And his
was
very limited role as well. He barely had any time
I
in there either.
think he liked his role in this better than he did in the previous iterations of his Batman.
Yeah. I also like I mean, since we're just, we're kind of just going off the cuff. Like I said, Frank is my very first guest. We're just having a good time. Um, yeah, dude, the Batman stuff that we got to see
Yeah,
was dope. Like
yeah.
the motorcycle that he used and how it was able to adapt to certain things was
Like,
dope. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the beginning of it, where let's be real, this movie did kick off really quickly though.
oh yeah,
Like it
yeah.
kicked off really quickly, and it had its good moments, but since we're in the bad section, this is what I didn't like about this movie. Very campy, forced humor. I did not like it. People in my theater were barely laughing.
Yeah.
I think I laughed at one part where this is a minor spoiler where the they were trying to get Barry his powers back and whatnot, and he had uh the
Yeah,
Batman thing. I laughed because I'm like, that's so Batman. Like
that
everything is Batman. But the force humor, on top of how bad the CGI looked in certain sections, where I understand what you were saying as far as that one area that was meant to look like it's from Barry's point of view, but
yeah,
then his suit looked terrible. Like when he's just standing there, his suit to me looked absolutely ridiculous.
yeah.
Um, just it overall, it's this. Like I said, this is probably one of the worst CGIs. And me personally, you like the cameos? I think they were oversold. Like to be honest with you, I think they were like, hey, we're gonna get this, but then we got this instead. And I'm just like,
I'll tell you what,
okay,
the cameos did not last quite as long as the Doctor Strange cameos,
they were
which
quick.
where you really wanted cameos in that movie.
Hmm.
Got really good cameos there. I still think these cameos two in particular, three in particular, actually four now, were better than
Multiverse of Madness.
God, yeah.
Yeah, well, we know how much you love that movie.
This
So
cameo right now with me on your show is better than Multiverse of
yeah,
Madness.
oh yeah, easily, easily. But I mean, that's just on top of the runtime was long. But it was just a couple of things where I'm just like, I just can't really get with this movie. Younger Barry was annoying as hell. Like he was very cringy throughout this entire movie, like overly done. And it felt like the perfect interpretation of what the world has had to go through with Ezra Miller. Like, really, we had to put up with that kind of version of Barry, and it looked like eh, it was just terrible. And like I said, the way they leaned into the campiness, like I like my DC dark, you know what I'm saying? Like dark tones and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
People complain about Marvel being too lighthearted. This movie was very, very like lighthearted. And when there was tones, like a lot of people complain about Ant-Man with the tones of, you're cracking a joke right in the most serious moment. This movie was exactly like that. Like, if not worse, because the jokes didn't even hit.
No.
So between that and, I felt like the Zod, like what you talked about, it was kind of wasted. I felt like that plot, it could have been different, especially because like what we originally got. But that just comes from my own expectations. But yeah, that's the things that I really didn't like, and the CGI in certain sections really was just so shitty.
It was, and again, like I said, I think the resolution of it was too fast. Like
Yeah.
you didn't get. I didn't feel it gave the proper build up to the resolution.
hmm Yeah, I agree. And then obviously, we'll talk about that more in the spoiler section. But what did you think about Ezra Miller as a whole though? All things considered.
If you take away the extracurricular activities that Ezra Miller has been involved in,
Which is a lot. That's a lot to take
it
care of.
is a lot to
He's been a terror.
it's a lot to take away to take a step away from that. But as an acting role, there were moments where the acting was really, really good.
Mhm.
And there
I
were
agree.
moments where the acting was not really, really good. Like you said, the younger Ezra, awful. Hated that version of him. And the older version of Barry was better. Um, it, the Iris thing felt squashed together and rushed too. Like they just felt like they like snowballed that and like threw it at the screen. Like here, let's make this work now. It has to work because
She was
this is
she was barely in it.
she was, and she that could have been breathed out a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of less of this and a little bit more of that. Like give that some breath. I mean, hell, in the TV show, it took them a damn season to get with her.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. And then all of a sudden, she just comes up and, you know, we'll talk we'll talk about that in the spoiler section because we
Yeah,
want people to skip ahead and stuff like that. As far as Ezra Miller, I agree with you. Everything that he's done, I'm not judging this movie off of how bad he's been in real life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are because I
oh,
don't know if you looked at the box office projections. It's like I believe off the top of my head, I think I saw it's like 70 million. It's just for this weekend, something like that.
it's not good.
Yeah, it's not because people are correlating this movie to Ezra Miller because they're like, yo, I am not gonna go support him. But realistically, I think everybody should go see this movie. You know what I'm saying? And base your own opinions,
Yeah,
but don't let the stuff that he's done in real life do, what I'm saying, like sway your opinion in the other way. And then obviously, Marvel's going through the very similar stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Where we could say that with Jonathan Majors and the dude that played Namor now, you know what I'm
Namor.
saying, with the allegations that he's getting. But I mean, I understand, and I will never tell people what to do and what not to do, what not to support. Like when I did my Little Mermaid review, I was telling people the same thing. It went through their controversy. Controversy, it can put asses in seats, but a lot of people will get turned off to this. But overall, acting wise, I thought he did a phenomenal job as older Barry. I thought it was overly done as younger Barry, but the emotion when he was on scenes with his mom, and even when he was talking to Bruce, I wish we had more of Ben Affleck and Barry
Absolutely.
together because
Absolutely.
yeah, because their chemistry worked together. You know what I'm saying? And I absolutely love them, the give and take, the relationship that they have together. And him just being able to call him up and Barry joking with, because we all know Batman's a very serious character. So
Mhm.
Barry to be able to joke with him like, "Yo, it feels like I'm cleaning up all your messes," like stuff like that. That works because Barry is not a silly type of character, but then with Ezra Miller's portrayal, he's over the top
Yes.
silly, and it kind of turns me off to him. And I would have loved to see Grant Gustin in this movie as the Flash. You know what I'm saying? Especially because this has been 10 years they've had this movie. Ezra Miller's been signed on for a long time.
Mhm.
Like they could have did it better. But overall, like I said, his the stuff that he's talked about that he's done off the screen didn't affect me. I wasn't thinking about that at all. I was just enjoying it for what it was worth.
Yeah, same. That's why I think a 6.5 is about a good. It's a good rating, and most of that 6.5 is leaning towards Keaton and for me the cameos.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're about to go into the full spoiler section. So if you have not seen this movie, please check out now. And also, before you check out, hit that like, subscribe to the Ace Avenue, and go check out my man Frank with his boy Jack over there at Geek Spot News. I will have the link in the description if you want to check them out. They have a weekly show every Monday. I like to go over there and mess with Frank constantly about his non-watch list, and they're good dudes. Like I said, I say it all the time in my lives, man. You guys one of the first channels to bring me on. And like I said, I constantly show you guys support whenever I can. So, like I said, go check that out, guys. It'll be timestamped below, but we're about to go into the full spoiler section. So, and right now, all right. So the cameos, go ahead. You want to go in?
Let me just tell you what I got my money's worth on the cameos. Okay,
It was better than Multiverse of Madness. Like you're right.
it look the Multiverse of Madness had John Krasinski as Captain America, not Captain America. I'm sorry, Mister
Reed.
Fantastic. That's all I needed out of that, and
Yeah.
I got that,
Well, and Patrick Stewart.
and Patrick Stewart,
Mhm.
right? And the rest of the movie was absolute ass. Um,
Mhm.
this there was so much. Okay, we'll start at the beginning with when they showed all the worlds, right? When they had all the worlds colliding, and then they colored the worlds. And at first, I didn't get that. I thought maybe we were doing a Green Lantern thing because there was a green one and a yellow one, and I was like, "Oh shit, is Green Lantern going to be here?"
Mhm.
We didn't get Green Lantern.
Nope.
We got George Reeves.
Yep.
Okay,
Which that I actually had to look up that story. That story with him is actually crazy with the
it is
whole,
really crazy.
and that whole where they remade that whole scene for what movie was it, Hollywoodland or whatever,
Yeah,
where the little kid walked up to him with the gun and he made a smart real heads up thing like, yeah, the bullets will bounce off me, but it'll hit somebody else. Yo, good
that
thinking by him.
yes, it was. Um, we got Adam West, Burt
Adam
Ward,
West.
and Caesar Romero.
Hmm.
All of them on their own worlds. So these were all different worlds. We got what might be my second favorite cameo of the whole thing. We got Nick Cage. We got Nick Cage's Superman. We got Nick Cage's Superman
The
for
long haired Superman.
Spider.
Hmm.
And the mechanical spider was the point of contestant between Kevin Smith writing the movie and the studio at the time that wanted a mechanical spider, which ended up going into Wild Wild West with Will Smith.
Yep.
That's why they had a mechanical spider.
Yep.
Um, Teddy Sears as Jay Garrick was great,
Hmm.
and Christopher Reeve and Helen Slater together.
Did
Which
you did you
he,
think that was weird though? Did you like considering that he's passed away? You know what I'm saying?
well, it was weird that they would that yeah he was pissed. But then again, so is Adam West, so is George Reeves.
Hmm.
Um, they deep fake CGI'd Helen Slater and Christopher Reeve because they never appeared in a movie together.
Yep.
Um, and what am I missing from the different worlds? Am I missing one from the worlds?
You got Jay Garrett. You
Jay
said
Garrett,
Adam West.
Adam West.
I think the one you're missing is the big one at the
Well, the
end.
one I'm missing, I don't want to take away. I don't want to take
Mhm.
all the spoilers, but I want your reaction for that final one that I actually yelled out in the movie theater for.
What'd you yell before you?
I yelled, what the F?
So you put a little Spider-Man, like what the?
I,
But
I,
before I get into that, though, I agree. Like the cameos were very brief, but they were well done. Nicolas Cage, all things considered, that he had to go through, where he had the role, that he didn't have the role, and how they kind of fucked him over. My theater actually clapped when he came on.
Oh,
and that was dope.
one. Well, there were 12 people in my theater, so there wasn't a
Oh,
lot of
okay. Yeah, the early screening, they clapped and everything. Everybody was super excited for that one because on top of that, Nicolas Cage is well loved too. Everybody loves Nicolas Cage.
He's a
But
huge Superman fan. You know, he named
oh yeah,
his son
Kal-El.
Kal-El.
Yep.
Love it.
Yeah. But overall the cameos were done. I thought they were really well done. Because they weren't forced at you
Right.
and they made sense within that. And the cameo that everybody's talking about. All right. So to backtrack with my first reaction, Barry sitting there getting a call from Bruce, right?
Yep.
Swipes on. Oh, also I like how they brought Alfred back as well. That was very classy. But then same thing with Wonder Woman. Like we talked about, Wonder Woman was
Yeah.
wasted in this movie.
Totally.
But okay, so he gets he gets a call from Batman and he answers the phone and I'm wondering to myself like why is Batman so short with him on the phone call? Like
Right.
he's like I got a lot to tell you. He's like I'm pulling up like really quickly and I'm like my first thought Christian Bale. Like I'm like let it be Christian Bale. Instead, it's the worst possible outcome that you can have. The worst Batman. If you rank Batman, he's notoriously on the bottom of everybody's Batman list. You got Bat Nipples, Bat Credit Card himself, with the bad in the movie with bad puns, Batman Forever, but we're gonna end it. George Clooney. I kind of threw my head back in disapproval. I was like, "What the fuck?" I
I
didn't say what the fuck, but I was like, "What is this?"
I
Everybody, some people liked it though.
loved it.
You loved it?
I loved it.
Mhm.
You know why? Because this is Philadelphia and we love redemption stories.
Ah, there you go.
That that was the worst Batman. That was the worst version of Batman that we got. And it was the scripts were horrible, but George Clooney was a damn good Bruce Wayne.
Yo, yeah, he was solid Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne. He's not
Terrible Batman.
oh, he's a horrible Batman, but he was a really, really good Bruce because he's got that look. He's got
Mhm.
that suave, like, that I'm gonna go bang a bunch of chicks look.
Oh yeah, sexiest man alive type.
Right,
Yeah, he's got the
right.
look. As far as that though, it's like I wouldn't mind, but I need to see what direction they're gonna go in because, like I said, I'm all for redemption stories too, dude. No Way Home with Andrew Garfield gave him the perfect redemption.
Oh my god.
Like, yeah, I would love to see what way they go with this movie as far as forward and stuff like that. But the way they just threw him in there, and then let's talk about Barry just blurting out, "You're not Batman." Like, dude, there's so many reporters around. What are you doing?
What was his reply? His reply was oh, it was something funny, and I totally forget what it was now. But I don't remember what Clooney's reply was. I'll look it up at some point.
Yeah, I'm losing it too,
But it
but
was funny, you
yeah,
know?
it was I expected Bale. Let's put it like that. I expected
Look,
Bale,
Bale would have been awesome, but Bale didn't fit the tone of that movie.
of course. But
Really
how would
step back,
mhm,
George Clooney's version fits the tone of this movie in
of course,
so many ways.
yeah. How would you have felt in that exact cameo? Imagine this: the scene was he steps out. You're seeing the feet point of view. You're seeing the crowds mobbing him, which they did a good job of setting up because as soon as the car pulled up,
They
everybody flocked to him because they knew it was Bruce Wayne. How would you have felt if it panned up and it was Robert Pattinson,
I
being
would
that they were going to do tie in the other ones?
I wouldn't have been as excited
Hmm.
because I don't think Pattinson was a good Batman. Or no, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, Bruce Wayne. I don't think
Hmm.
Pattinson was a good Bruce Wayne. I think because he was too young,
Yeah.
I would have understood the tie-in, but I wouldn't have liked it at all.
Yeah, same. I would have understood why they did it because
Yeah.
if they would have did that, then I would have said, okay, they're using this movie as a restart, like very much like what they do in the animated films. The animated movies, they constantly have Flashpoint as a trump card to
Mhm.
say we're gonna do as much fucked up stuff as we want because like with Justice League Dark, we're gonna kill everybody.
Yep.
But we're just it's not gonna mean anything because we're gonna run it back with Flashpoint. You know what I'm saying?
I never saw that.
Oh, that was a good one. It was a good one. You should definitely check it out. But I mean, that was like I said, that was probably the biggest thing in the movie. The action scenes were pretty good in this movie. I'm not gonna lie, even though, like you said, it busted its load in the trailers.
Oh yeah,
Everything that we saw that was great in this movie was in the trailers outside of the hospital scene where in the beginning, which that was pretty dope. Where we got to see bad CGI in the babies, though terrible CGI. I
oh
haven't seen CGI that terrible since the Twilight movies, like with their little baby and stuff like that. But that CGI was terrible. But the way he was able to instantly save everybody, and
yeah,
I like the whole wrist thing, monitoring his energy, his calories. That
I
was
like
a good
that.
take.
I like that.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be a better detective than Batman in the comic.
Mhm.
He's supposed to be a better detective. So him taking that moment and calculating like I do this, and then it all coming forward. That was good. That was
Mhm.
really well done. If they had only done that the rest of the movie.
Absolutely. And I like little nuances of the movie, like little things that are setups for later on, where we've seen it in other movies with the Flash, where he has to gently bring somebody down when he's running at full speed.
Yep,
And they touched on it in the CW. And in this movie with the young Barry, when he super sped old Barry out of the way, he's like, "What did you do?" And he threw up, because that's exactly what would happen
yep.
if you were in that situation. So it was set up perfectly in that circumstance. Um Overall, like I said, I just think that this movie had a lot of potential. We were amped up like it was going to be the biggest blockbuster, especially because I'm sitting there and WB executives are in the early screening giving out stuff like this is the biggest blockbuster of the year. I'm like, You're kind of overselling
Tom
this."
Cruise apparently loved the movie. I mean, he needs to lay off the Scientology.
Hmm. Hold on, can you still hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, my screen went black. Yeah, yeah. Do you think they love the movie, or are they kind of getting coerced into like, hey, say this is good?
I don't know. This is the second time a multiversal movie has let me down to the point that the hype has been up here, and then the reality of it. This still, for me, goes above Doctor Strange, though,
I
as
agree.
far
I
as
agree.
multiversal movies go.
But as far as the recent multiverse movies, you got to figure. Well, you haven't seen Across the Spider Verse yet.
No,
Um,
I am this weekend.
I
Figured
would say I would say multiverse movies. We're probably 3 and 2. I would say the good ones are Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, Across the Spider Verse, and No Way Home. No Way Home is also a multiverse movie, and obviously you have this movie, and then you have Multiverse of Madness that were big letdowns. But the biggest take I take of this movie, if you're a DC fan, and I'm seeing a lot of DC fans tearing this movie apart, giving it like 6 out of 7s,
uh-huh.
like sixes, stuff like that. I overall I give this movie, after seeing it twice, I leaned into 6.5, but after seeing it twice, I'm going a solid 6, and that's being generous because I could easily go 5.5
Wow.
because it's not very rewatchable, Frank. When you go now that the all of it is gone, and when you go back and rewatch it, you're kind of just like, I'm ready to get this over with at this point. And like I said, solid 6. Like I said, that's just being generous, but if you're a DC fan and you thinking this is going to be the movie that's going to save the DC universe, you're going to be disappointed.
Wait for Superman Legacy and
Yeah,
hope.
or you know what? I'm excited for Blue Beetle.
I'm not really.
Hmm.
Jack, I think, is, but I'm not really. I'm not really.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Blue Beetle when it comes to that. And then obviously, this isn't even the last movie in the Snyderverse. We're getting Aquaman 2 is supposed to be the
Just
last one. Which did you see the end credit?
no.
You
I
didn't
actually
watch?
didn't. I know it has something to do with him, but I totally was. I went. I get done work at 5. The movie was at 5:30. I ran
Mhm.
right to the theater, and I was falling asleep midway. Not so much that the movie was boring, but that it was just a long day at work with no break.
Yeah, I get that. So basically, the end credit scene was, which by the way, they didn't show any of the end credit scenes in the early screenings because they're like, we're
Oh,
gonna keep this under wraps. For
okay.
what? For what? It didn't set anything up at all.
That's fair.
The end credit scene was basically just Barry and Aquaman Arthur walking out of a bar. Aquaman's super drunk. Barry's talking about, the first thing he said was, "I can't get drunk because metabolism," which they that's the Flash's character.
Sure.
Aquaman's hella drunk, falls into a puddle face first, and Barry's like, "Dude, I live right there." And the joke of it was Aquaman's face down the puddle, like, "I live right here, like I'm gonna sleep in the water in the puddle," type shit. And then it ended, and I was like, I waited. I don't think I've been as disappointed for an end credit since No Way Home with Captain America, where he's like, "You're still sitting in the theater," like, type
Yeah.
stuff. And I was like, "Oh man, this was a waste of time." But yeah, but we touched on a lot of stuff, man. Anything else you would like to address or anything like that?
No, like you said, if you make your own decision about it, go see the movie. Don't judge the movie because Ezra Miller has been an absolute train wreck outside of acting. Go see the movie and get your Michael Keaton vibes. Get your Nick Cage vibes. Go enjoy the movie.
Sasha too. Sasha
And
too.
Sasha, obviously.
Because those right there, those were the best parts of the movie. And like we said, unfortunately, if you watch the trailer, you watch the majority of this movie. So
Sasha Cali also said that the breakout of the thing scene, the breakout of the bubble scene,
mhm.
there was a lot more shot for that, and that some of it ended up being R-rated.
Mhm.
Wants that to get she wants people to see that. So there's probably a 27-hour director's cut sitting somewhere.
Sitting on the cutting room floor.
Ugh.
So you already know what's going to go on. Snyderverse fans are going to be like, "We want that. We want that." That's exactly what it's going to be. But I mean, I thought. Oh, another thing too before we get out of here. The Dark Flash route was kind of predictable.
Yep.
Very predictable.
Yep.
Obviously, in the show they went the Savitar route. But in this one, it was very, very predictable, and it wasn't. I mean, I'm okay with it being predictable as long as it's executed properly. I'm okay with that. And I knew it immediately as soon as he was pushed out and he was staring at himself. I was like, "That's Barry Allen." Like, just didn't know which version it was going to be, and I was like, "Okay, it makes sense." But overall, like I said, some things were good about it, some things were bad. So.
Agreed.
But I appreciate you for popping in here, man. You are my very first guest on the channel. Do you have the applause or anything like that on your soundboard? There we go. There we go.
Even I hit the cricket button too.
There we go. Hopefully this video doesn't get crickets, though. Hopefully this video doesn't get crickets. But look, man, I appreciate you for popping in, man. I am the Ace from the Ace Avenue. This is my boy Frank G from Geek Spot News. You can catch them every Monday at 7 p.m. Definitely go check them out, man. They do a lot of great things. Like I say all the time, I'll say it again. I say it on my live streams all the time. If it wasn't for channels like you guys', I wouldn't be doing what I do because you guys brought me on. One of the first people to bring me on, you know what I'm saying? And I had a great time doing it. For years, people would be like, "Yo, you should do your own channel." So I finally did it. So it's fitting and it comes full circle that you're one of the first guest. You are the first guest on this channel, so I appreciate you.
I appreciate the shout outs and thank you for the support. It's great, and now you're teaching me stuff. So I think and it's a great, wonderful give and take. I love when a community starts to grow like this, and you have this kind of thing happen. It's awesome.
Absolutely. The YouTube community is big enough that everybody can have a good time. We could, help each other out, stuff like that. I look forward to getting you and Jack on here. We all got to find a movie that we watch at the same time. Not sure. But when's the next episode of Geek Spot, as a matter of fact, because you guys are about to hit episode 100.
We actually are going to hit episode 100 on June 19th, which is the Monday coming up as we're recording this. So June 19th at 7:00 p.m. As far as I know, everything's a go. We're going to we got the Flash to get into and some other stuff we're going to talk about. We could go back through our story of how we started. We actually started with the Crisis on Infinite Earths, so it's kind of almost a full circle thing doing this movie as our 100th episode.
That's crazy how things work, though, right?
Right? It's weird.
So, but I appreciate you, man. Thanks, man. I appreciate you having you on. And like I said, for everybody that tuned in, appreciate you for hitting about 45 minutes on this. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm the Ace from the Ace Avenue. If you haven't done so, hit that like, hit subscribe. Also, hit the like and subscribe to Geek Spot News for content much like this. Also, I do my sports content as well. Did you hear about the new? Before I let you go, did you hear about? I sent you that stuff about YouTube.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So I
cool.
haven't had a chance to sit down and watch it yet. I got a full weekend of video watching to go.
Cool. So YouTube people, the Ace Avenue people, we are almost at the goal. So make sure, if you're watching this video and you like what you hear, hit that subscribe and let me know down in the comment section what you guys thought. But we're gonna go ahead and head out of here. Appreciate everybody for watching. That's Frank. I'm the Ace from the Ace Avenue. Adios.
Good night.